Hey ring makers, this is Trevor with Patrick Adair Supplies, and today we're going to be going over the March set box.
Every month, we dive into epic tutorials that break down everything you need to know to make awesome rings with your monthly sub box. We'll cover the tools, the materials, and techniques you need to turn your box into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Whether you're a first-timer or a pro, you're in the right place. For this sub box, we have our green glow powder, an empty vial, a white ceramic ring blank, the emerald boa opal, and emerald. And for pigment, we are using Granny Smith green. To mix the pigment and glow together, I'm doing about 2 heaping scoops of the pigment and then filling up the vial about 3/4 of the way full, just to give us room to shake everything around, and then just shake that up as best as you can to get it all mixed in. And then you can add or remove pigment depending on how saturated you want that color, but this is what we're left with in here. For the emerald and the opal, I'm just crushing them up a tiny bit to make it so they sit in the middle of that inlay channel a bit better. This is all personal preference. You don't need to crush it if you don't want to. I just find it to be a little bit more manageable this way. But again, you can do it however you would prefer. Alright, so to start off our ring, I'm doing a small layer of the thick CA just on the base of that channel. Once that's all even on there, I'm just going to be pouring over our pigment glow mixture. And then I'm just going to give it another once over with that pigment mixture, just to make sure that any of those wet spots get covered. Okay, really good coverage on there. Then I'm just adding a touch of the super thin, just to really hold everything in place and saturate that, and give that a little quick spritz with our accelerant. When I do a base layer like this, I would recommend waiting a bit longer than I did in the video, just to give it time to cure, because if you don't, your next layer of glue or CA can cure really quickly, which is what happens here. I have enough time to put our materials down on, but after I push them down into the Inlay channel a little bit, I'm realizing that the glue has hardened, and now the pigment mixture is not sticking to those empty spots like I prefer. It's not the end of the world, it's just a little bit inconvenient, so I am just going to finish pushing everything down into that Inlay channel. Some stuff falls out again because that CA cured really quickly, so I'm just going to sprinkle some of that glow powder on top into those cracks and just gently blow off the excess that falls on top of the materials. It's still going to end up looking really nice. It just was a little bit of a hitch in this process, but that's just kind of what happens when you are being creative and making things from scratch. So after I added some extra glow pigment into the cracks of that, I'm adding a touch of super thin, and for those pieces that fell out, I'm just sprinkling a little bit more of our mixture on top of there. Alright, so after that is all cured, I am then just going to be building up the rest of the empty spaces with the super thin CA, just enough so that it gets to the top of that inlay channel, so that when we sand it all down, it's nice and uniform. All right, then I'm just taking our rotary tool. I use an 80 grit sanding drum for every ring that I make. I think it just gets rid of the materials fairly easy. If you do end up with little brown marks on that white ceramic, don't worry, it will come off when we do our wet sanding and polishing. So after I do that rotary sand, I'm taking our 180 grit sandpaper and doing a wet sand just to clean up any hard scratches left over from the rotary tool. And because we are using emerald, it's a little bit harder, so I like to start off with a little 180 sand to sand that down a bit. And then I'm switching to 240 grit just to clean that up extra nice. I'm doing just a quick once over, and then onto our next layer of super thin. I'm doing 2 more layers of super thin just to build it up. Get that ready for our final sand. Once that is ready, I am doing a wet sand with 240 grit. And after that, I'm switching to a 500 grit. And following that up with our P1000. And I'm going to dry it off here, and I can see that there's just a little bit of the CA that's still right on that edge. It's not flush to where I like it, so I'm just doing one more quick sand with that 1000 grit. And then I'm just drying that off and doing our step 1 polishing paste. Just need about a pea size with that, don't need a ton. And just rub that in nice and good while the RPMs are going. And after you clean it up, then we are left with our emerald boa ring. I think it turned out really nice. I think the opal looks really cool mixed with the emerald. And I hope you guys enjoyed making this ring. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and we can answer them in the next video or in the comments. Again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.